I've never really been a sentimental person, but I graduate in 11 days, and I've been reflecting on my past 12 years in the public education system. And I've decided that middle school student council elections are the craziest thing I've ever experienced. I mean, there were posters everywhere, campaign speeches, and outrageous promises, which sounds a lot like political elections, but instead of promising million-dollar policies, we were just promising ice cream for lunch. I didn't realize that after being elected as student council, I would actually have to do work, however, and it was really hard for me because I felt like I was just doing minuscule tasks all the time. For example, we used to pack these snacks into little snack bags and send them home with students, and I didn't really know how we selected the students or what we were doing, but one of my friends actually received one of these bags once, and I thought, well, why him and not me? But later I learned that we were sending him home with students who didn't necessarily get food at home. And looking back, I wonder what he did when we had short weeks or breaks, because we can't provide snacks for them if we aren't at school. And my school wasn't the only one who was trying to target this issue, and my school wasn't the only one struggling. In fact, out of every 100 students that would normally get meals from the school, only 5 will get them during the summer. And out of one in every 6 Oklahoman will struggle with food insecurity, or about 17% of our population, or 15 million Americans. I recently sat down with Cindy Cummins of the Tulsa Regional Food Bank to talk about the issues of food insecurity and how it affects our population. And she explained to me that food insecurity isn't necessarily hunger. You see, hunger is that pit feeling in your stomach you get. But food insecurity is about choices. Families that have to choose between fixing the car when it breaks down, or filling up their medication, or getting groceries. These choices are something that affects 17% of our population. When we're here to talk about living our best lives, I think it's interesting to look to Abraham Maslow, who developed the hierarchy of needs in the 1940s. The idea is that once you reach all of these levels, you'll be able to live your best life. At the top, you have things like self-actualization, spontaneity, creativity. Then you have your self-esteem, which is your self-centered traits. Then you have your family and belonging and the people you love. Then security, which is going to be your housing and jobs. And below that, at the very bottom, is your physiological needs, or what you have to have just to survive. You have air, water, homeostasis, and food. When we are talking about living our best lives today, we'll hear things about mental illness and how to stress less and live a healthy lifestyle. But what we have to realize is we have to equalize the playing field for all of our citizens. And 17% of our population doesn't meet the physical needs to live their best life. One of the most common misconceptions we have about food insecurity is that people who aren't food secure are lazy or not working. But there's 2 main issues that funnel into food insecurity. First, we have the living wage gap. In Oklahoma County, where we're standing today, the living wage gap between a sustainable living wage and minimum wage is $14.98. In Wagner County, where I live, it's $15.05. According to MIT, the living wage differences have people that have to reach $59,017 a year for a sustainable living wage for a family of 3. This is the jobs levels that are in Oklahoma that are most common to meet this living wage, meaning that people have to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to provide for their children. And even when they meet these jobs, we often struggle because we've made healthy living a luxury in our country. Ridgeview Medical Center reported that we would only have to spend $1.50 extra per day to live a healthy lifestyle. $1.50 may not seem like much, but when you have a family of 3, that's $4.50 a day. When a 2-week paying cycle ends, that's $63 extra per check that you'd have to spend to live a healthy lifestyle. That's $63 extra out of a check that you're living paycheck to paycheck for, so it's often not doable for many families that hover above the poverty line. This leaves people to relying on Bisquick and ramen to provide for their kids. And while Bisquick and ramen may be great for college students, it's not necessarily great for raising your children. These issues are going to be something that affect a lot of our population. And even if they start making enough money to get fresh produce, they're often faced with food deserts or a 5-mile radius around a neighborhood where they can't get fresh produce. If you live in one of these areas, you're 2.5 times more likely to rely on fast food, 2.1 times more likely to rely on convenience stores for your produce, and you're less likely to be able to go and get groceries if you rely on public transportation. People that rely on public transportation often have to travel 2 to 3 hours round trip to get groceries, only being able to purchase what they can carry, and then can't get frozen goods because, well, they'll melt. This is something that affects many people that are hovering above the poverty line because they can't necessarily spend that money or spend the trip to go get groceries. And if you think this doesn't affect you, you're probably wrong. 76 out of 77 counties in Oklahoma have a food desert. And 46 out of those 770 counties have 50% or more of their population living in a food desert. And while this doesn't affect people that have transportation or middle-class jobs as much, it affects people that are living below the living wage in Oklahoma and in the nation. So when we're talking about how food deserts are playing effect into people, you have to couple that with the living wage standards and the issues with healthy living. Now, I'm not only here to talk about the issues of food deserts. We have many people that are coming forward to try to solve this problem. Meals on Wheels delivers food to people that live in food deserts to their doorstep if they don't have access to transportation. This is for people that can't go to the grocery store or can't get away from their kids long enough to buy groceries. Then we have programs that were implemented through schools where we have free and reduced lunches, and we have these snack programs, and we have student councils that reach out and try to help with these issues of food insecurity. But most interestingly, we have a new program where farmers markets have set up temporarily in these neighborhoods that don't have grocery stores. And what they do is they allow people that rely on food stamps or EBT cards to swipe at the local farmers market and double their SNAP benefits. So it's a buy one, get one with fresh produce, which allows people to be healthier, and it increases access to healthy living for people that live in these low-income areas. We preach about how we want to live healthy lifestyles and how we want to advance our communities, yet issues like food deserts and food insecurity are often masked by other issues. If we want to advance our communities and if we want to advance our lifestyles, we're going to have to come together and bring attention to the issues that are at hand first, and then find ways to ensure basic needs for all of our citizens so that we can take our best step forward and all live our best life. Thank you.